Round and round, watch the log just glide. Can't hook, grip, smooth, roll, no fight. Round and round, make the timber obey. Pro bunks got me turning all day. Round and round, yeah, the motion's tight. Every spin locked in, feels just right.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to the abandoned shed sawmill. We've been doing a lot of milling here recently, a lot more than usual since the weather has been great. And we figured this week would be a great week to do some maintenance on the mill and add a brand new upgrade. We just got the Woodland Mills Pro Bunk. They're gonna help us to slide big logs around on the mill and flip them. Some of these logs that we've been dealing with have been pretty difficult for me and Dad to flip, and they are not even the biggest ones that we have to mill, so it's gonna be a nice upgrade, so we're gonna be doing that today. We also took some time this week to finally set up our bandsaw blade sharpener. When we got the mill, it came with 10 blades, and so far we've used 7, and those last for various lengths of time. It can last for 10 logs, or it can last for 30 seconds. If you hit it metal, it'll just ruin it instantly. And so we went ahead and set that up this week. It's really satisfying to watch now that it's all set up. It automatically pushes the blade and it comes down and sharpens it. And so that was a really fun thing to do. So we're gonna continue to mill some pine today as we get some construction materials. But before we get started with that, we wanna go ahead and install our Pro Bunks, and then we'll get to try them out. Here's the Pro Bunks we're gonna be installing today. We've actually searched on these a bunch, and there's not that many videos on YouTube about these, so hopefully this will be helpful for some of those that are searching on it. We actually just got these this week. They were supposed to come last week, but FedEx put their magic touch on it, so we got them today. And so our mill, for those of you who don't know, is the Woodland Mills HM130 Max. After we get those Pro Bunks installed, we want to go double check all the bunks, make sure everything is level and square, so that way we can have some nice square boards when we're cutting. So this is some of the lumber we milled last time, and we're going to be cutting this into 2x6s, but right now it's a problem for later. Oh, I did it again. This is that nice southern yellow pine we've been cutting that we got from our neighbor Eric. Also, last time we cut persimmon, and I took out one sheet for laser engraving, and I took it inside and didn't put any weight on it, and it immediately cupped. So right now we're using this stack of wood to try to flatten it back out. And so here's that piece. Yeah, it got way better. So we poured some water on it. That's why the lumber cups in the first place. One side drying faster than the other causes one side to shrink more and it cup. And so we added some water and put the weight on it, and it's a lot better. Still has some cup, but we could probably run it through the planer and be fine. Probably do a little more first. But I'm probably gonna use this to do a small run of coasters, and maybe I can give them to some of you guys. This stuff is so heavy. All right, so our first upgrade today is these log clamps. You guys already know you can never have too many clamps, and that applies to log clamps too. There's been so many times for us where we just needed one more clamp, so this is gonna be a great upgrade for us to have. All right, so now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clamps. And we would definitely recommend, if you're getting a sawmill, hold off on all the upgrades when you first get it. We're really doing all these upgrades because we're about to be dealing with stuff that's a lot bigger and harder to work with. Honestly, you can get by with just the basic thing to start with. And after you use it for a while, you'll be able to see what you really need. For us, it's to clamp more and to be able to flip big stuff. We love our Woodland Mills so much. We are not sponsored by them in any way, but we cannot recommend them enough. They're awesome. And they also have great customer service. So if you guys are looking at getting a bandsaw mill, we highly recommend it. way we move our logs onto the mill right now is with this ramp bunk system. We can roll the logs up onto it and then roll it across these removable bunks. We decided for our 2 new Pro bunks, we're gonna replace this bunk and replace this bunk. And that way it's useful for pretty much everything we roll on. And our mill is 23 feet long. And the logs we have range from about 10 feet to up to 20 feet. We actually even have one that's longer than the mill itself. So we're thinking about maybe adding one down there eventually, but for right now, we're just gonna start with these 2 and see how it goes. I think the biggest thing that this is gonna be helpful for is just being able to slide a log on the mill. It's hard to imagine how heavy these logs are, but it is almost impossible for us to slide some of these logs. They're just so big, and then there's just all this stuff they get caught up on. By the way, this stuff we have on the bunks right now is pretty small in comparison to some of the other stuff we have, especially those big walnuts and hickories that blew over in the tornadoes. Those are massive, and they have a much larger diameter, very heavy hardwoods. Honestly, some of them are gonna be too big for a mill, and we might have to call up our friend Alan to bring his mill to do some of them. The 130 Max was the biggest mill that Woodland Mills offered. Probably like a month or 2 after we got it, they released a new one that can do 36-inch logs. So thanks a lot, Woodland Mills. You guys owe us an upgrade. All right, so we got the new log bunks all bolted on, and also the backstops. And we took some time and went through each backstop just to make sure it's nice and square, and they all are now. And so we're ready to roll a log on and see how it works now. By the way, these stainless steel bunks don't come with it, so we reused our one that we had gotten originally with our bunks, and then we used a string to go along each one to make sure they were all square. The moment of truth. By the way, we were just double checking again, and we could not find a single demonstration anywhere on YouTube of these log bunks, so I think we're the first ones to show it. We got a Woodland Mills first here on the channel. Heck? Yeah, I don't think I saw it on video though. What is going on here? That's kind of random. All right, so we lifted up the rollers on both Pro bunks. So now the log is sitting completely on those rollers. And so it should be easier to roll now. Just keep on rolling it all day long. Oh, I can get that to catch. I can't wait to try this with a really big log. This log's actually pretty round, so it's not that challenging to move it to begin with. Yeah, once we get a log that's like going across the mill or has some strange knots and stuff, I'd be curious to see how it works with that too. All right, now we're gonna try the slide. Yeah, usually really hard to do. Oh, you're going this way? Okay.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna shot that thing off the other side of the mill. Oh yeah. That's good.
Yeah, you can do it. You can do it. You
I think
have to roll it forward.
no, I could see it. It hit this kind of hit this bump right here. Okay. All right, so we got a little carried away yesterday just playing with our new bunk, and so Now it's next day, got the coffee ready, and we're gonna go mill this thing for real and see how it stands up to a real world scenario and see how it works out for us. Okay, so here's a scenario that we run into a lot. We've just rolled our log onto the mill, and we typically put the small end of the log on the left side of the mill. And we like to line up the pith at the same height on either end of the log. So what we do is we jack up this into the log with this jack. But you can see where with the log has ended up right here. We don't really have a place to fit this jack underneath. We could maybe wiggle it in there, but what we also have to do is measure where the pith is on either end of the log. And the way we do that is we put down this 2x4 that we milled. We have one on either end, and we planed them both to be the exact same height. We can measure off that. But right here, we have a situation where we can't really get this in here. There's all these bolts and stuff in the way. If we take a look at the other side of the mill, we also have the same thing. We have these bolts right here, so we can't really slide this over. And we think the best thing to do would just be slide the log just 5 or 6 inches to the left so that we can hit all those points easily. And that's where it's usually a big challenge because it's really hard to slide them along the mill. But with these new Pro Bunks, we'll be able to just slide it pretty easily. So we're gonna try that now. Easy, no problem, right?
It's crazy how easy.
And so now we can just slide this board over, measure off that. Let's check this side. Yep, we can put that board there, perfectly lined up with the jack so we can jack up that end. And now we're ready to go. It's a really small thing, but normally that would be a whole thing for us to do and a lot of energy wasted. So we have on this side. 13 inches on this side. Then we come over to this side.
It's gonna come up a 1/4 inch.
Come up a 1/4 inch. Perfect.
All right, so now.
Oh, and a little life hack. We got this DeWalt drill from a pawn shop for really cheap. Yeah, $16 with a 19mm socket on it. And we just keep this just for doing this jack. And it saves us a lot of time over having to use the crank that comes with it. Got Danner's log detailing service. This log has been sitting in a field, so it's just covered with some dirt and mud, but it's pretty dry right now, so it comes off easily. But if you leave this stuff on, it'll dull the blade a little faster, so we like to try to get the majority of it off. All right, that log should be ready to go. Let's start up the mill. All right, well, we managed to get some 2x10s out of that log, and having those Pro bunks really helped us a lot. I think that's gonna be great when we get some bigger logs. It's gonna help us a lot. So we'll still have to get the hang of it a little bit and work it into the system, but I think it's gonna be a great upgrade for us. But that's gonna be a wrap for this video. I wanna give a big thank you to everyone that backs us over on Patreon. Also, thank you to everyone that has liked and subscribed, and I'll see you guys next time.
Flip that log, it's a Sawmill vibe. Pro bunk flex, where the work aligns. Round and round, this my game, my sound. Woodland mills, pro bunk, breaking it down.